तनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। 1 to 18। न जायते म्रियते वा विपश्चित्
जायते म्रियते वा विपश्चित्
नायं कुतश्चिन्न बभूव कश्चित्
नायं कुतश्चिन्न बभूव कश्चित्
अजो नित्यः शाश्वतोऽयं पुराणः
अजो नित्यः शाश्वतोऽयं पुराणः
न हन्यते हन्यमाने शरीरे
न हन्यते हन्यमाने शरीरे
न जायते म्रियते वा विपश्चित्
न जायते म्रियते वा विपश्चित्
नायं कुतश्चिन्न बभूव कश्चित्
नायं कुतश्चिन्न बभूव कश्चित्
अजो नित्यः शाश्वतोऽयं पुराणः
अजो नित्यः शाश्वतोऽयं पुराणः
न हन्यते हन्यमाने शरीरे
न हन्यते हन्यमाने शरीरे।
Yeah, very nice. न जायते. जायते means what? Born. Correct? न जायते means is born. Not born. Is not born. You know. Mri means what? To die. Na briyate means what? Huh? Does not die. Okay. Na jayate is not born. Na briyate does not die. Oh, then what does it do? Who is this that does not die and does not born? It is something called vipaschit. Vipaschit visheshena pashyati iti vipaschit. From drish to see. Drish becomes what? Pashyati, pashyatah, pashyanti. Correct? Yeah, drish becomes pash. When you decline the verb to see, which is drish, it becomes pashyati, pashyatah, pashyanti. Paschit means the one who sees, the seer. Vipaschit means the intelligent seer. Medhavi, vipaschit, the one who has medha. Medha means brain cells. No, it's not enough to have them, you have to use them, correct? Yeah. So the one who has medha, the one who uses the brain cells, the one who is intelligent, correct? So who doesn't die? The intelligent one. Who is not born? The intelligent one. In other words, if someone thinks, I am subject to birth and I am subject to death, what are they? The non-intelligent one, correct? The Upanishad is very tongue-in-cheek, very polite, by implying by overtly stating the qualities of the intelligent one. So the one who has body identification says, oh, I'm dead, I'm dying. Oh, I'm being born again. Oh no, I'm going again. Oh, I am not. The one who says that is what? Avipaschit. So what should we want to be? Vipaschit or avipaschit? Vipaschit, definitely. Yeah. Va means or. Najayate does not get born, is not born, is not subject to birth. Or va nabriyate, is not subject to death either. Who? Vipaschit. Yeah. Certain things are lost in translation, so we will just say vipaschit. Vipaschit means who? The intelligent one who sees what? The seer sees what? Sees the truth of oneself. That is vipaschit. And then further, the qualities of the Vipaschit are outlined. Na ayam kutaschit. Let us just see the verse and then we will go deeper. Na ayam kutaschit. Kutaschit means what? Kutaha chit. And this particular, kutaschana, kutaschit, like this, there are certain suffixes. When you add to verbs, like where, wherever, like that. So these are those kinds of suffixes. Kutaschit means from where, means from nowhere. Na ayam, not this, from where, means what? This, it has come from nowhere. Oh, it has come from nowhere, means it has no source. It's the causeless cause of all existence. Itself it is what? Uncaused, no source. Okay, theek hai. And so it has not come from anywhere, correct? Na babhuva kaschit. Kaschit means anything. Babhuva means become. So nothing came out of it. And neither has it come from something else. What? That is what it is. But what about this Jagat? Is it really there? Say no, quickly. No. So that means what? That which comes and goes, we don't reckon. Why? Because it is not fit or deemed to be said to have existence. Correct? It is not fit to exist. Why? Because that which exists always is. There is only one thing that always is. What is that? Ishvara, I. That's all. Sat. That's all that is. So therefore you cannot say anything really originated from it, because then we will have two levels of reality, or two things that are real. Correct? So you cannot say it originated from the Jagat, originated from it. We just say that to find a causal, to explain the Jagat. To explain the Jagat, especially for the people who are caught up in the Jagat, we have to come, sit. Yeah. No problem. They can bark, it's not a problem. So, to explain the Jagat, what do we have to do? We have to say that this has come out of that, but the coming out of Brahman, of the Jagat, is like like the ghata coming out of mrit. Mrit here doesn't mean dead. Mrit means clay here. Okay, yeah, same word. So, out of mrit, mrida yatha ghatam, yatha ghatah. Just like the pot has come out of clay, the Jagat has come out of Brahman. So, the whole pot is nothing but clay. The whole Jagat is nothing but Ishvara, nothing but Brahman. So, if there is a pot, you cannot count two things, correct? You cannot say one clay plus one pot. It's all clay anyway. From the point of view of pot, you can count 1, 2, 3, 4. But from the point of view of clay, you don't say clay number 1, clay number 2, clay number 3. There is only clay. So similarly, nothing has come out of it. It has nothing to do with bringing into manifestation anything, correct? Neither has something else other than itself has brought this into manifestation. So what is the cause of this Vipaschit? Vipaschit is causeless. Who caused Vipaschit? If we say, oh, somebody caused Vipaschit, then what will happen? Then we'll have to, that will become Vipaschit, this will become Avipaschit. So neither has it caused anything, nor itself has been caused by something else. Okay? So this is what is the truth of yourself, really. Even though it is hard to understand, especially in an age when everybody is visiting Ancestry.com, correct? To find out, oh, this is my last name. Where did I come from? What was my family doing? And then there are some heirlooms being passed down. This was from the great grandfather's age, right? And then it is cherished. and then it is handed down. And to be told, to tell such a person, you have come from nowhere because you don't have an origin. Already the person has low self-esteem. Like, already the person says, I'm no good. And then here you take away the only thing that matters. What? The lineage. It's a big thing, right? So therefore what? Therefore, here the idea is to be ready for this knowledge. That is why, Lord Yama took such a long time with Nachiketa, correct? Why did it take so long? Because that readiness has to come. The first two boons have to be gone through before the third boon can be encashed. The first two boons he had to go through. What were the first two boons? First was what? Me and my father. You see, that lineage has already come. I have been caused by my father, by my mother. May my father and mother be all right. May they not be angry with me. May they recognize me. May I go back to them. He was all really concerned with and preoccupied with the past, correct? Yeah. So this preoccupation with the lineage and with the source is because one is avipaschit. Avipaschit means what? Not knowing the truth of oneself. Avipaschit. And why is there this preoccupation with the source? Because I am in search of the original source. Yeah. Not this rehashed, refried source, not the local source. Because this is what happens so many times. The person is adopted. We hear so many times. Person is adopted out. And on the 18th birthday or 21st birthday, the person is told, because now they are old enough to handle it, or so the foster parents think, the adoptive parents think. We found you somewhere. It's an Indian adoption on the banks of the Ganga in the Kumbh Mela. Kumbh Mela means everybody gets lost. This is really, even adults get lost. Why children? 2 million people in one place, So, and now UNESCO is looking into Kumbh Mela. The UN is wondering how this city has come up, and despite one or two stampedes, Lord Yama is very active there, but still, despite one or two stampedes, it is still a very sanely conducted city. Suddenly city pops up and everything. It's amazing. So this is what? Kumbh Mela. Now, this is something which is very interesting, because now here the child is told, you actually were found when you were 2 years old or 1 year old in the Kumbh Mela. At age 21 or age 18, the parents tell the child. Now the child has a mission. Oh, these people who love me are not real parents. Where is my real source? So the child will put ads and look into where it was found, and look into all the places, look into the birth registries. In India, we don't have all that. Half the people are born at home. Where are you going to? And half the births are not even registered. Half the marriages are not registered, because it all happens in the house. And so anyhow, in the rural areas, that's how it is even today. So then the child, this young adult, man or woman, will go in search of what? The real parents. This is what, even in this country it's like that. As soon as the child learns, I am adopted, oh, who are the real parents? Why did they give me up? This is the thing. So then you meet the real parents. Are you happy? No, because you are angry. Why? Why did they abandon me? You see? So the real parents are not really the real parents, correct? Because they leave something to be desired. So the real parents in this case are extremely fallible, because the first act they did was abandon the child, right? For whatever reason. I'm not blaming them. So many times it's in fact good they gave it up, because they are not able to raise it. Where there is poverty, there are so many other difficulties. Sometimes the parents are young. But from the point of view of the child, the real parent was not good, correct? And then, so this is where the ajnanam or the avipaschit is operating. This is the jiva operating. Yeah. that no matter how much love the foster parents have given, still there is the feeling, I didn't get the real thing. And what is that real thing? Is it really parents? No. Because even people who have real parents are very unhappy with it. They want to divorce those parents. Not that they are happy. It's very funny. The people with the so-called real parents keep wondering, am I adopted? Really? Because I have nothing in common with these people who I call the parents. Was I adopted? That is the feeling of the real child, of the so-called real parents. And the foster child is wishing that I had real parents. So you see, this itself shows that the real thing here, the source is not the parents. Yeah. The source is in the parent of the universe, which is an as-though parent, which is revealed really to be the truth of oneself. That is where the balm is to this whole origin pain. Yeah, this is the pain of the source and the origin. Yeah. And this is the only resource to go to the source. And what is the only resource? Self-knowledge. That's the only resource. To put an end to this pain of the source once and for all together. Because the real parents have to be, my real source has to be infallible. Only then is the jiva happy. Yeah. Because any fallibility one cannot handle. Why? Because one knows really that one is infallible. That's what it is. So one has to discover that infallibility and through the understanding of Ishvara, understand that this is really the truth of oneself. That is how one becomes what is called Vipaschit. So this is what Vipaschit. Na jayate is not born. Yeah. So my source is that. I trace my source into that which does not have an origin. It's so comforting. Meaning what? It was always here, always unchanging. It is here to stay. Tomorrow it's not going to change, and it is never the subject of negation. So therefore it is always limitless, always sattva, always the same. And that is what everybody is wanting. In this search, in this mad scramble for Ancestry.com and the source, what are people wanting? Is to have something stable and unchanging. That is what everybody wants. So when you search for that real parentage, somehow the feeling that they would have been more stable. That is the whole idea. But that's not really true. And so therefore what? So therefore, this the Vipaschit, the one who has this knowledge, and the Vipaschit is also the name for Atma. This Atma which is truly intelligent. When it has this knowledge, it is called Vipaschit, another name for this limitless Atma. It rests in the glory of itself. Yeah. It doesn't need to seek anywhere to add something to it. Oh, I was born of this particular parentage. I have blue blood in my veins. All this aristocracy. Some people want to have that. And you can get certificates if you go to England that you're the descendant of some lord and lady, whatever, some pedigree. It's not enough to have a degree. You also need to acquire pedigree. In India also, you can, when you visit the Maharaja's palace in Mysore, they can give you a little fake certificate with a stamp, saying you belong to the Maharaja's extended family. Everybody in Mysore has one. What's the use? To show off to your friends from abroad. That's all. If you show it to anybody or you put it in your you frame it and put it, all the relatives will laugh at you when they come, because they will all have 2-3 of those to hand out to others also. Certificate is meaningless. So this whole desire to somehow look big by belonging to some blue blood and royal family and some Raja, Maharaja, all this desire to become big is really the desire to become Vipaschit. Yeah. Is to be limitless. Is to really, we have to plug into that source, which is the resource for everything. Itself is sourceless. Itself is causeless. itself does not need to look up to another thing. And that is the meaning of, another meaning of the word Anishaha. Ishvaraha na vidyate yasya, that which is causeless, which does not have another overlord over it. This is what the Ishvara is. Correct? So na jayate. So it is never born. Never born means, oh, that's not very nice. That means it is very nice. It is not subject to keeping on. Birth means change, correct? Yeah. There is no change in the form of birth. It always is, it is the same. And then therefore if it is not born, then what? There is no death either. Now when the birth and the death are like bookends to other four things that happen in between. So by referring to the two bookends, you have talked about the entire library of books in between these two book ends. What is that?
Survival.
Yeah, so you survive birth. Jayate, mriyate. In between asti. Asti means is. Then what? Vardhate, grows up. Viparinamate, blossoms, becomes capable of reproduction. And then what? Apakshiyate, decays, declines, and then vinashyati, dies. So if birth and death are talked about, that means it is the whole, all the modifications coming in between the birth and death are also covered. Correct? We have to understand that. We cannot say that only birth and death Vipaschit is free from, but Vipaschit has old age, Vipaschit requires glasses, Vipaschit wants a cane to walk around. We cannot say all that, right? Why? Because in tackling with the two main things which come at the beginning and at the end, the whole life cycle is negated for the Vipaschit, right? Yeah. This is what is called Prathama Malla Nyaya. The logic of the champion wrestler. There are 40 such logics, nyayas, in the Dharma Shastra. I have spoken of some of them, like Shakha Chandrayoho, Shakha Chandra Nyaya. So Shakhayoho Madhye Chandraha. So how to show the moon to the baby who's never seen the moon? You show the tree, then you then say, oh, that's the moon. No. Then you show the branches of the tree. Then you position the moon to come in between the branches of the tree, and then you say, look in between, like that. That is one kind of nyaya. This is a different nyaya. It is called Prathama Malla Nyaya, the logic of the champion wrestler. And what is this logic? Supposing you want to be the champion wrestler, what do you have to do? Defeat the reigning champion, correct? Yeah. You knock that fellow off, correct? You don't have, and then you are the reigning champion. Simple. It's as simple as that. You don't have to start boxing with every street urchin, and then you have to declare your championcy and to say that I am the champion. You don't have to box every single person that is going around, correct? You have to just knock off the main thing, and then everybody else has been defeated, right? So here also in this argument you knock off birth and death, which is the main pieces here of the puzzle. So here there are two champions, both of them are gone, and so all the other modifications coming in between are wrapped up, taken care of. So the Vipaschit, being free of birth and death, is also free of all the modifications of the life cycle. So is it free of rebirth? Yeah, because if one birth is only not there, where is the rebirth going to come from? Rebirth, birth na asti. If the rebirth is itself not there, where is the rebirth going to come? Correct? Rebirth means there should have been birth. That is also not there. So this is its Swarupa. Swarupa means its essential nature of Brahman. Swarupa, essential nature. Whose essential nature? Your own essential nature is to be free of birth and death. This Atma is free of birth and death. This Atma is free of all modifications. This Atma is free of causation, meaning neither does it have a cause nor is it the cause of anything else. This you have to imbibe a little more, because the Jagat, it's very easy to dismiss, but then it is not very easy to dismiss. When is it easy to dismiss? Go to sleep. Where is the Jagat? Every night it is negated, correct? In fact, that's why you sleep, because you're sick of the Jagat and you want a little break. Yeah, no matter how much you love your children, how much you love your loved ones, you don't want to see them for 8 hours. Really. Because you're tired of them. You've done your job, you're tired, you need a break, and you turn the Jagat switch off. Sometimes you have to do it medically because it doesn't work otherwise. There are so many thoughts going around in the head. Oh my God, what will happen, and how is this, and what all. So you have to forcibly switch it off. Take some kava and and go to sleep, right? And in sleep, where is the anxiety? Not there. Where is the pain? Not there. Where is the fear? Not there. Where are all the annoying people? Not there. Where are all the annoying characters in the head? Not there. In other words, where is the Jagat? Not there. So even though one is used to dismissing the Jagat very easily, when in sleep, during the daytime, if you tell people that the Jagat really doesn't exist, they get upset or they blank out. Yeah. Why? I don't know. Yeah, this is really what it is. This is the truth. The Jagat is as real as this pot. Yeah. It is there. It cannot be said that it is not there. Why? Because, the body is here, the mind is here, the senses are here. Other bodies are here. So just because I say it doesn't exist, it doesn't, everybody in the room doesn't evaporate, right? So therefore, it cannot be categorically dismissed, but at the same time it cannot be categorically established. Like we talked about yesterday, you look for the truth of any one thing and you will not find it. Seed, tree, seed, tree. Another seed, another tree. Another seed, another tree. It goes on to infinity, which means what? That the cause effect, the cause of the Jagat is really not there. That's what it means. This whole cause effect is mithya. The cause of the Jagat is really not there. That means the Jagat is really not there. The causality is mithya. If the cause is real, then the effect becomes real, then we have to deal with two realities. But you cannot say in anything in the Jagat what came first. Start with chicken or egg. What came first? Chicken paksha. Paksha means the group who says chicken. They will argue till the chicken crosses the road. And the egg paksha will argue, egg people will argue till all the eggs are hatched. Right? Which came first, chicken or egg? You don't know. Which came first, tree or seed? You don't know. That is what? That is the clue. This is Mandukya Upanishad. That is a great clue to the fact that when you cannot establish causation, there is no causation, really speaking. Where is the causation? So everything that has come has an as though existence, a mithya existence that is dependent upon Sat. Much like there is no causation for the dream mango. Correct? Or even better, the dream winning lottery ticket. What is the cause of the dream lottery ticket which has all the numbers have come? What is the cause of it? There is no cause. There is no objective cause. You can say that it came out of the dream, the dreamer's knowledge and memories and the dreamer's intelligence. It is upheld by the dreamer's intelligence. It goes back to the dreamer's intelligence. So which is more real, dreamer or dream? Dreamer. Dreamer is more real than the dream. The dream is just a projection. So too the Jagat is a projection it really doesn't matter because it does not have a independent existence, independent of this Sat, of this Vipaschit. Okay? So the first two lines have negated a certain thing. What have they negated? Birth, death, growth, old age, disease, everything has been negated. Cause for it has been negated. That it is capable of producing some effect through some action has also been negated. Then if somebody were to ask, why are we being so negative? Negating everything. The other two lines talk about the same Vastu in a wonderfully positive manner. Ajaha. Here that also is slightly negative. Ajaha means unborn. Nityaha, infinite, eternal. Shashvataha. Shashvataha means not subject to decay, always the same. Puranaha, ancient. So these are all wonderful things which talk about, you see, we found the two book ends I told you about, right? What are they? Jayate and Mriyate. Jayate and Mriyate are the two ends. In between what do we have? Vardhate, Vardhate, Viparinamate and Apakshiyate. So these three are negating those others. Yeah. So Nityaha means unchanging. And so by the word unchanging, then what? Then the others are taken care of. Nityaha means eternal. So Nityaha means eternal. So it is taken care of. Which one? That it is subject to modifications is taken care of. Shashvataha is the one that is never decaying. That is not subject to decay, everlasting in the same way. So Nityaha, Shashvataha and Puranaha. These three words take care of all the four modifications in between Jayate and Mriyate. Puranaha, Pura eva navacha. That which is as ancient as the hills, but what? But ever new. That is why the self is ever new. Each time you look at it, you are happy. You are not like, oh, this boring Atma, again, you again, all the time. Yeah. And that is why you listen to it again and again and you are not bored. If you are bored, there is some block inside. Yeah. Otherwise, one is never bored. Because this thing cannot be boring. Cannot be. It's just impossible. Such is the love for the self. There is a built-in love for the self that it can never be boring. So, Ajaha, Nityaha, Shashvataha, Puranaha. Ajaha takes care of what? Asti. Jayate Asti, survives, correct? So, if it is not at all born, it doesn't need to go through the step of survival at all. And then what? Nityaha takes care of Vardhate and Viparinamate together. And Apakshiyate is taken care of by two words. Shashvataha, always unchanging, always the same. And then Puranaha. What is Puranaha? That which is ancient as well as new. Very beautiful. And then very important last line. Na hanyate is not killed, is not injured. Sharire hanyamane api. When the body is killed, it does not die. Very important. When the body is destroyed, it does not die. So killing is for whom? The body. And this is really the same verse that comes in the Bhagavad Gita also. So in a slightly different form, the same verse comes in the second chapter. So, na hanyate is not subject to being destroyed or killed. And why is this horrible metaphor of killing used? Because that's the worst thing that you can do to somebody, correct? Some body. That's what I mean. The worst thing that one can do is to put an end to some body or another body. But any body is free of this birth and death, any person, which is vipaschit. So when the body dies, the vipaschit does not die. The vipaschit is nityah, shashvatah, puranah, indweller of the body, not subject to decimation, not subject to death. And the horrible metaphor of death is used because that includes any other thing. It includes maiming, it includes destruction. But this is a stark, big thing to understand. It's a stark departure from what? From thinking that if the body is impaired, I am impaired. Right? If the body dies, I die. If something is wrong with the body, something is wrong with me. And we talk like that also. People talk like that often, I am sick. Are you sick? No, the body is sick. And, but nobody says the body is sick. Generally what? I am sick. I have fever. I have cold. Nothing wrong if you know what you're talking about, but most of the time one doesn't. So, I have all these things. And all the diseases one, owns up to what one is not. I am diabetic. Are you diabetic? Atma doesn't like sugar, Atma is insulin intolerant. No, that's just the body. The whole body? No, just the pancreas. You see, you kind of come to the crux of it. Then, I am lame. That's a lame excuse, okay? I am lame. The whole of you is lame. No, I just have trouble with my foot. Right? I am sick. I am lame. I am thin. I am tall. I am short. I am fat. I am big. I am small. That means what? The body attributes are superimposed upon the I. Which is the cause of all sorrow. I am deaf. I am blind. I am, I don't have the sense of smell. I don't have this. So as soon as the I comes and takes over any of these body attributes, when we don't see it just as a localized body attribute, then what happens? One feels like the whole life is falling apart. Right? Yeah. And that's a recipe for sorrow and madness, really. One goes crazy with the thought that something bad is happening to me. I am losing it. People say that. I am losing it. What that it is, don't ask. But I am losing whatever that it is. So these are all, these day-to-day talk gives a clue as to how deep the body identification is. And how it is a good practice after studying this verse to really just contemplate on the fact that, that when you say or when you think that I am so and so, are you really that? And then you localize it, Okay, instead of saying I am lame, I can say one of the foot is not working properly, or the mobility of this body is impaired. It's a different thing. Already you have gained a little bit of space from that I to actually just a form and function which may not be functioning as well as you want it to function. And when you gain that inner space, you are able to look at it objectively as opposed to subjectively. When you look at it subjectively, it causes grief. Because that I becomes entangled into that particular thing which is not the I. So you see, when you try to marry the I with the not I, disaster results. I and not I are not very compatible. Don't marry them. That's what it is. Leave them be separate. The not I resolves into the I. as we shall see later and as we have seen before, the I remains itself. So here, even if the body is destroyed in the most heinous manner possible, the I remains intact. Na hanyate hanyamane sharire. And that is specifically mentioned because the body identification, body includes mind, the body identification is extremely rampant. Okay, so then, the next verse is also very interesting. More about the killing. Yeah, very interesting. Hanta chet manyate hantam.
Hanta chet manyate hantam.
Hataschen manyate hatam.
Hataschen manyate hatam.
Ubhau tau na vijanitah.
Ubhau tau na vijanitah.
Nayam hanti na hanyate.
Nayam hanti na hanyate.
Hanta chet manyate hantam.
Hanta chet manyate hantam.
Hataschen manyate hatam.
Hataschen manyate hatam.
Ubhau tau na vijanitah.
Ubhau tau na vijanitah.
Nayam hanti na hanyate.
Nayam hanti na hanyate.
So let us take the case of a person who has who says, I am the killer. Okay? We are not saying, he himself is saying. What is he saying? Just a hypothetical fellow. He says, I killed this fellow. I am not just a one-time killer, I am a serial murderer. Yeah. I am a serial killer. I am a killer. In fact, I and killer are one and the same. You see how he has identified with the action of killing, correct? And he's very proud of it because he's not yet caught. Yeah, if he's caught, then no one is proud. He's still on the run, and he's giving anonymous interviews and leaving anonymous tips and all these things. He's on a high, and what is he saying? I am the killer. Correct? And then also imagine, since this is a hypothetical situation, one can imagine anything. The person, the victim, who was the victim? The one who was hapless enough to come into this fellow's hand, the last victim. The murdered fellow says, how can the murdered fellow talk? Never mind, I'm telling you, this is a hypothetical situation. That's why the word chet comes. Chet means suppose, if. Suppose, if. Yeah. How many times chet? Hanta chet, manyate hatam, hatash chet. All these things. So if supposing the dead fellow says, oh no, I'm dead. Don't ask how. Suppose it, okay? Let us just say in a hypothetical situation, the killer gloats, I am the killer. And the dead fellow laments, oh no, he has killed me, I am dead. Correct? Ubhau tau, both of them, na vijanitah, they don't know this. that nobody is, that the Atma is neither killer nor is the killed. This is the translation. Yeah. So very interesting. So the act of killing, the one who associates with the act of killing, meaning the karta of the killing, the karta of the kriya, the action of hananam. What is hananam? Killing. So hanana kriyayaha karta, the karta of the action of killing, and the hanana kriyayaha bhokta, the agent of killing and the experiencer of killing. Correct? Who is the experiencer of the killing? The killed one. The killer and the killed. So morbid, but really this is necessary. So both the killer and the killed are under a pervasive delusion, are operating under a pervasive delusion. And what is the pervasive delusion? The killer is gloating, I am the killer, because the killer is identifying himself or herself with the action of killing, correct? So the one who identifies with the action of killing is called killer. That means the karta is what? Not the atma. The vipaschit does not perform any action. Then who is on trial? Who is going to jail? Who is having life imprisonment? Then every killer can quote this, correct? See, I am not this. Na hanyate hanyamane sharire. It will become the defense of every killer. That is why we had such a lot of discussion of dharma in the beginning. Yeah, it is when you get to the place of not crossing dharma, then only you can say I am neither killer nor killed. This is the very high level Vedantic knowledge of akartritvam, the non-doership. Non-doership. So I am not the doer of any action, including the most heinous of action. That's why it is brought in. What's the worst thing anybody can do? Kill. And because imagine the guilt, If you are a vegetarian and you just swallow a fly, then also you feel guilty. A mosquito or something, you feel, oh, this was terrible. Why did I do that? How awful. Correct? Accidentally, if you kill some creature, and if you are a vegetarian, you feel so bad. And imagine if you kill another human being. My God, you cannot even live with the guilt. But really speaking, the author of the action, even the most heinous of crimes, is not really the Atma, which is you. Yeah. Who is the author? Don't ask. That is the Ahankara. That is the one that doesn't know. That is the one that crosses Dharma. So really this knowledge is not for the one who has not understood Dharma. So that is on the side of the actor. The actor of even the most heinous of crimes is not the Atma. The Atma, the I, is not subject to be the actor. Is not subject to identifying itself as the actor, because what does the Atma do? Nothing. Yeah. What does the Atma do? Nothing. And then so Atma is not an agent of action. Correct? Oh, then maybe Atma is the recipient of other people's action, or the other forces, other actors operate upon the Atma. So Atma becomes what? Bhokta. Bhokta means the victim of other actions, other people's actions. No. Atma is neither the agent of action nor the victim of omissions and commissions of other agents. But yet, at the same time, there is no agency nor experiencership without the presence of the Atma. So the Atma just sits. Like the two birds we saw in the Mundaka Upanishad. What is one is doing? Yeah. Pippalam swadu atti. Swadu pippalam atti. It keeps wanting to eat the tasty berries. Are the berries always uniformly tasteful? No. Most of the time it gets rotten berries, pungent berries, raw berries, horrible berries, very, very bitter berries. This is the state of the searching bird, the agent bird. And the other bird, what is it doing? Simply giving this bird the light for it to do whatever, shedding the light on its actions. So Atma is merely shedding the light. Oh, but isn't shedding the light also an action? See, to shed, it's a verb. No. Because when you say sun shines, is the sun acting? It is its nature, Swarupa. So like that way, Atma just shines. In the presence of Atma, I, the actor, is born. I, as the actor, is born when I identify with certain actions. And I, the griever, is born when I am subject to guilt as a result of those actions. And I, the bhokta, the experiencer, is born when I identify with other people's omissions and commissions operating upon, my areas and territories, including the body, mind, sense complex. And I, the bhokta, is born when I identify with hurt. So identifying with guilt, there is the karta. Identifying with the hurt, there is the bhokta. What is the Atma? Neither karta nor bhokta. But without Atma, there is no kartritvam, no bhoktritvam, no status of doer, actor, and what? The recipient of action. Both the actor and recipient of action are what? Are not without the presence of Atma, but the Atma is neither the actor nor the recipient of action. So that is basically what this verse says. Hanta chet manyate hantum. So if the killer thinks, the killer thinks of that in the sense of I shall kill it. Kill it means what? Kill the Atma. I can kill the Atma. And the one who is dead says, I am dead. I am killed. Both of them, na vijanitah, don't know their own self. They are ignorant. Why? Because the self is unchanging. Unchanging means it is neither the killer. Because even to become an agent of action, there should be a certain change that one undergoes, is it not? Because you're sitting quietly and then you become a doer. Don't you undergo a change when you become a doer? Arey Baba, how long you have to go to think? If you get up to go get a glass of water, aren't you undergoing a change? Yes, you are. Correct? There is a certain change that is undergone to become a doer. To become the recipient of action also there is a certain change. But here, the Atma we have always seen in the last verse is Shashvata, undergoes no change. So the doer is a superimposition or a projection upon the Atma like the ornament on gold. And the recipient is a status that is a projection on the Atma like again the ornament superimposed, on gold. But the ornament it cannot live without gold. So the status of doer and the status of recipient of action, both are projections of the Atma as though projections without really being there. So nahanyate anta chet na ayam hanti nahanyate. So therefore what? This is not understood. This is the first verse was for the vipaschit. This is for the avipaschit. The avipaschit thinks I am the killer. The avipaschit thinks I am killed. The avipaschit thinks, oh, I am guilty. The avipaschit again thinks I am hurt. And this is the worldly existence consisting of the opposites. Papa, Punya, the ones who are caught up in that small existence, they don't understand that, that the Atma is free of both doer and being a doer and experiencer. So then if Atma is all this, how to know this is given in the next verse. Anoraniyan Mahato Mahiyan Atmasya Jantoho Nihito Guhayam Tamakratuh Pashyati Vitashokah Dhatu Prasadat Mahimanamatmanah. Yeah. We'll just see the translation now and next week we'll pick it up in detail. Anuhu means an atom. Aniyan, smaller than an atom. Mahatah means huge, big. Mahiyan, smaller than the smallest, bigger than the biggest. This is the Atma. Atma means Atma here. Where is it? Smaller than the smallest, bigger than the biggest means no size is its size. All sizes come from it itself. Where does it live? Asya jantoho, in this jiva, in the living being. Nihito guhayam, in the cave of the intellect. Yeah, in the buddhi. Where is the Atma recognized? In the buddhi. So that is where it lives. Correct? And how to look at it? Again the word pashyati. See, vipaschit, pashyati is maintained throughout. There is a nice consistency here with the use of this verb pashyati. Tam Paschati. That Atma one sees. Who sees? Akratuhu. The one that has given up all desires. Yeah. Just a small qualification to see the Atma as oneself. See means not through some kind of a Hubble telescope, Yeah. Just let go of the desires, Atma will show herself to you. Again it says later on. Yeah, in the same Upanishad. Yeah. So you only have one desire. What is that desire? I want to know Atma. Make that your only desire. Kratu means actually the one who keeps on doing yajnas for the sake of material fulfillment. Kamya karmas. What is kamya karma? Actions to fulfill desires, including prayer. So the one who is totally focused on those kinds of actions to fulfill desires is called, those desire fulfilling prayers and rituals are called kratu. Yeah. And the one who doesn't do them at all is called akratu. Yeah. The one who doesn't care in the least bit about what happens to himself or herself and does not worry about tomorrow is called akratu. So tam akratuhu pashyati. So in order to see the Atma as oneself, what do you have to do? Become akratu. And then what will happen? And then what happens is that when you become akratu, then all the limbs cooperate. Dhatu here means all the limbs. There are two meanings of the word dhatu. Very nice verse, beautiful verse. All the limbs start to fall in place. Otherwise they're all restless, running around, like, oh, I have to run, I have to go, I have to catch, I have to do this, I have to do that. So many things. And if somebody says, what, and that's why sometimes people don't know how to talk to me, especially if they sit next to me in airplanes. What do you do? Nothing. Do you have a job? No. Do you go to work? No. What do you do? Nothing. And they say, oh, you must be depressed, but you don't look depressed, like that. Or they quickly take a book and start to read. Because it's awkward, because everything is identified through what do you do. First, what is your name? And then you tell your name. And the next thing is what? What do you do? Yeah. Actually, for me, it stops at the name after, because they don't know how to pronounce. So the next one doesn't come only. Next question, what do you do? Many times it doesn't come. So this is how the whole world is oriented. What do you do? What do I do? And what do we have in common? That's all it is. This is how people relate. What do you do? And so this doing thing, the limbs and the tongue also is an organ of action. Don't forget. So the organs of action and the sense organs are all like predators. How to grab, how to get this, how to get that for myself, how to do this. And the legs are ready to run. And the sense organs are like predators, like I said, they are just roaming all over the place. And then how to pursue the Atma? Even to sit in one place, one needs to come with a seat belt in class. So that one doesn't run off when you feel like just restless, just rush, So you have to come with a seat belt. Because it's like many people say, I want to take the class online. Why? Because sometimes I like to jog when I am listening to the class, I am jogging. This is what is called the dhatu is not cooperating to sit. Correct? Dhatu is not, prasida means pleased. Prasada here means pleased. The dhatus of the sense organs and the organs of action are not cooperating by giving the prasada of a quiet, restful heart, a restful mind, a nice, well-behaved hands and legs. So that you can enjoy your own company. So you can sit and meditate, sit and look at the ceiling, sit and look at the window for hours together without needing to move. Dhatu, prasada means doesn't cooperate. So many times people want to meditate, but because of back pain they cannot sit. So then they say, I'm going to lie down and meditate, which is always a bad idea, right? Yeah. That will be the last thought. I want to lie down and meditate before you go into instant nirvikalpa samadhi. Yeah, this is what happens. So here, when you become akratu, when there is nothing to run after, nothing to pound, nothing to gain, nothing to grab, nothing to retain, nothing to have, nothing to hold, nothing to want, Then the hand also says ठीक है. It all comes back and it goes along, and your own mind, which is also part of this whole dhatu, falls in place with your desires to know the Atma, and all of them cooperate. The legs refuse to go anywhere except to class. And the hands refuse to do anything except look at books of Upanishad and Vedanta like this. The whole being becomes one. The person becomes together, and the person understands the glory of the Atma. That is one meaning of Dhatu Prasadat. Another meaning of Dhatu Prasadat is, there are three kinds of anugrahas, grace, that needs to come together for this knowledge to fruition inside the heart and to blossom. One is called Ishvara Anugraha, Bhagavan's grace, which is really your own punya karma from the past. And often one thinks, I have been targeted, I am unfairly targeted, I am not the recipient of Bhagavan's grace, God's grace is not with me, I am unlucky, which is not true. Grace is like underground water, it needs to be tapped and divined through the acts of prayer. Yeah. What does the water diviner do? You have to first locate the underground water and then tap into it for the spring to come up and make the whole area green. And so too the grace has to do that. The grace means you have to pray in order for those grace that are bound, that for that boundless grace which seems bound to be released, you have to access this Ishvara Anugraha to prayer. And then there is Guru Anugraha, the teacher who always wishes for the student to gain the knowledge. The teacher's blessings, which is not really the individual teacher, the blessing of the whole lineage. Here Guru means starting with Dakshinamurti, the whole blessing of the whole lineage. That also has a part to play in the knowledge, in gaining the knowledge. But you can have in full form, full force, Ishvara's grace, and you can have in full force whose Rishis and Guru's grace. But if you don't have the third grace, nothing will happen. What is the third grace? Atma Anugraha. Your own permission to give to yourself that I deserve this teaching, that I am worthy of this knowledge. Yes, this is my birthright. Yes, I'm going to take it seriously because I deserve it, I want it, I'm going to have it, I'm going to get it. This is what is called Dhatu Prasada. Very beautiful. I thought we'll just look at the meaning, but we have seen almost the whole thing. We'll see what to do next time. Om Purnamada Purnamada Purna Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Hari Om. Any questions?
This is similar to what Arjuna was told. Right?
Yeah, this is all verses from in the Bhagavad Gita. They have taken directly from Kathopanishad. Yeah, word to word they are the same.